Chronist Adelin stood with quiet authority at the lectern of the esteemed High University of Kaerok. The thick, ancient stone walls of the great hall seemed to hum with the voices of history itself, ready to speak once more through her. Every seat was filled, every eye fixed upon her, and with a solemn breath she began to tell a tale long buried in the folds of time. "My young friends," she began, "as you stroll today through the proud streets of our capital, as you gaze upon the soaring banners of the great houses and the shining crests of the Bannerlords, it may all seem eternal, unquestionable, but I tell you now, it was not always so. There was once no throne in Kaerok, no kingdom, only a fractured land torn by ambition and pride. The so-called free cities of Kaerok ruled themselves, fierce, stubborn, and divided. Their lords fought not for unity, but for dominance, and that pride nearly destroyed us all." She paused, letting the weight of her words sink in before continuing, her voice now steady and firm. "In those days, centuries past, Kaerok stood alone and splintered, and like all unguarded kingdoms, it was ripe for ruin. Freedom without unity is fragile, and from that weakness came darkness." Adelin began to walk slowly along the front of the hall, her deep blue robes whispering over the polished stone floor. Yet even in chaos, there are those who see further than others. One such figure was Sethallia, ruler of the free city of Lansrul, a visionary, brilliant, calculating, and brave. She had once walked the ivory courts of Aravia, seen with her own eyes the strength that comes from unity. While she admired the High Elves' order, she looked homeward with growing dismay. Kaerok's lords squabbled over land and legacy while a storm gathered beyond the mountains. Her voice dropped lower, drawing the students inward. The true threats came from the north, from Frostheim, a harsh, frozen realm of heretics and warriors. Tensions mounted like thunderclouds, and then the fragile peace shattered. At the Council of Narbuk, a summit meant to heal the fractures within the Church of Lumaya, violence erupted. The delegates were slaughtered. The flames of war were lit. In the aftermath, fear swept Kaerok. The Skinwalkers, long mistrusted, were declared abominations, darkspawn of the shadow. They were hunted, purged. But Sethallia saw the truth. They were not monsters. They were cursed. Victims, not villains. She knew the path chosen by the Lords would lead to destruction. A hush fell over the students as Adelin's words darkened. And so it came to pass. Frostheim, who revered the Skinwalkers as divine, retaliated brutally. Their warriors descended like a blizzard upon Kaerok's northern cities, joined by savage orc clans and ruthless mercenaries. But Kaerok was not ready. The free cities fought alone. Some tried to bargain, some resisted, most fell. Adelin's gaze swept across the silent hall. But one city stood, Lansrul. Sethallia had foreseen this storm. While others mocked her caution, she fortified her walls, trained her armies, and readied her people. And when the invaders came, Lansrul endured, again and again. While cities burned, Sethallia held the line. But even her strength was not enough, and here a second name enters the pages of legend, Acelin the Stalwart. Her tone shifted, stronger now, reverent. Little is known of his past. Aselin had spent long years in exile, seeking penance in the mysterious land of rebirth, a place of silence, reflection, and atonement. What sins he carried, no one knows. But when war engulfed Kaerok, Aselin returned, changed, hardened, ready. He joined the ranks of the Sacred Order, and it didn't take long for his brilliance to shine. He fought with discipline, but also with heart. He understood not only battle, but what it would take to save a broken nation. He did what none before him could. He united the Lords. Gasps echoed quietly among the students. Yes, Adelin said. It was Acelin the Stalwart who forged the impossible. One by one, he rallied the broken cities, bridged rivalries, and ignited something greater than pride, hope. And with that hope, Kaerok rose. She lifted her hand as though beckoning the moment itself. It was at the legendary Battle of the Crimson Plain that Kaerok's fate was decided. Under Aselin's banner stood the free cities, the warriors of Aravia, and the Sacred Order. Their enemies were monstrous, skinwalker berserkers, orc warbands, Frostheim elites, but united, they were unstoppable. When the blood dried and the smoke cleared, Kaerok had won. And in that sacred moment, the Lords knelt, not to each other, but to him, to Acelin the Stalwart, who became the first king of Kaerok. The Bannerlords, once petty rulers, became the shields of the realm. A reverent silence fell, broken only by the soft breath of the young scholars. But Aselin's vision stretched beyond Kaerok. He knew peace here was not peace everywhere. So he forged a greater alliance, a league of kingdoms and creeds, the High Elves of Aravia, the fierce barbarians of the East, the Sacred Order. Together they formed the Telerian League, and the Bannerlords stood as its unwavering guardians. Adelin paused, letting the hope in her words settle. But history is not only written in gold, she continued, her voice now somber. There is blood in every crown, and not all choices are noble. A hush returned to the room. After the war, Acelin and his queen, Telana Ironwill, cast blame for the conflict upon the orc warlord Saftur the Farseeing. Thus began the Red Crusades, a merciless campaign against the orcs and the skinwalkers. Entire tribes were destroyed, cities razed. What began as justice became vengeance. These scars still mar the soul of Teleria. She stepped close to the front row, her voice now quiet and grave. So the next time you see the banner of Kaerok waving proudly in the wind, remember this. It does not only stand for strength and honor, it stands for sacrifice, for the bitter price of unity, for a kingdom born not in peace but in fire. And remember the names: Sethallia of Lancrel, the Shield, Acelin the Stalwart, the Flame. Together they gave us Kaerok, with all its glory and all its shadows. The great bell rang, but for a moment none of the students moved. The silence was complete, filled only by the weight of a story that had once again proven its power. Adelin allowed herself a quiet smile. Kaerok would not be forgotten. Which tales from Teleria do you want to hear next? Just let me know in the comments. And if you like the stories, I would be very happy about a like or a subscription. That way you support me and this channel.